Everyone, Lower Michigan Adventures, and I have a.k.a. Pops. Pops, we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
You cool with that?
Yep.
Yep. So Pops here is gonna make us some arrowhead necklaces, and he's gonna try not to break it. Pops, you make all kinds of arrowhead
I
necklaces.
make all kinds of necklaces. I've made as many as 9,000 a year when I was doing shows all the time. I have a lot of people come to shows and with an arrowhead that somebody has given them, made for them, or somebody has found on their property, and they would like to do something with it so they can wear it. And so I've been doing this for many years. I've made thousands of these with fake arrowheads, which these are modern made here. I buy them by the thousands and I use them. I sell probably 700, 800 a year now in gift shops. But what you have to do is you have to get some artificial sinew, it's called. It's a wax nylon cord, and you pull off maybe 9 inches and you cut it off, and you take your arrowhead or spear point or whatever.
So I wonder if my wife's watching. This is the arrowhead.
Yeah.
So Pops actually picked out this arrowhead, and he's gonna make us one.
Yep. So what you do is in the notch where it would be tied to the arrow or the shaft, you take this. I like to roll it because it's flat, makes it easier to work with, and then lay it on the back of the arrowhead, about the third of it sticking out, and you pull it into the notch and you bring it around to the other side and you put your thumb on it to hold it in place, and then you wrap it a couple of times. You got to get down in the notch, and then you tie a knot in it, just a regular knot, thumb on it, square knot, and then you wrap it. Okay. After you get the square knot, that's what it looks like, front and rear. Okay. Then you lay it this way, flat, with the string up. And I use deerskin strings that I cut myself. This is a deerskin string. And I lay it over the end of the arrowhead and tie the string that you tied around the arrowhead. Now you tie it around the string. And this one I usually do a square knot also, but I do at least 3, sometimes 4, when I'm tight. Because this is what nylon and it's waxed, no matter how tight you make the knot, see, what it does, it lets it hang straight. If you tied the deerskin directly to the arrowhead would hang like this. By doing it this way, it allows it to hang straight down so it lays properly. Now, it's very important. I learned this the hard way when I first started making necklaces. This nylon that's waxed, you got to cut it off short. You got to leave a little bit. But if it gets warm, the wax will melt and the knot will come untied. By taking a lighter or a match and burning the ends down to the knot, it melts the nylon and puts a little nubbin is left right at the knot so it can't pull through. If it gets soft, there's like a little ball on the end. So now you have it hanging nice and straight. And then you put whatever beads you want on it, colors or whatever, and you just add them to the string, and then you tie it off. So when you put it around your neck, it lays properly.
So the wife's actually watching. Pops is actually making one necklace right here, and this would be for, I don't know if you want this for your brother or your sister, but he has different color beads for options for putting on this here. So,
Yep.
oops.
We can put the beads on it anytime, and but basically, all arrowhead necklaces, that's the best way to do it. Some people, if you have the skills, you can wire. I have friends who wire wrap the arrowheads, where I put the artificial sinew They run wire around it and then turn it up and twist it and put a loop in it to go through the cord. If you have that skill, you can. When my daughter was at home, she loved to wire wrap, and she used to wire wrap stones for me that I would make into necklaces, and usually a few arrowheads, but mostly the arrowheads weren't an expensive necklace, and I did those the traditional way. This is the way Native Americans would have done it. They would have used real sinew. They call this artificial sinew because it looks like the tin. It's made for reenactors to look like sinew. Sinew is the tendons from large animals that holds the muscle to the bone. The problem with sinew is the pieces are usually only this long, and you've got to take a piece of sinew that big around and you've got to beat it with a rock or a hammer onto something like a round wooden surface, and you beat it and you beat it and you beat it until it will ravel out, and then you unravel how much you want, and the natives put it in their mouth, got it wet, pulled it out, twisted it, and then sewed, but you only had a piece this long. So it was very hard to work with, very tedious.
Right.
This makes it much, much easier.
So there's a lot of history behind what you're actually doing
Oh,
and
yeah.
how it's actually kind of evolved over the years to make it easier to
Well,
do.
I started out trying to do living history things, and I was a school teacher, and I had two children and a house payment and no money. And so for me, I had to make my own stuff because you can't buy this stuff in a store.
Right.
So when I started doing the living history, I had to find other people who were making stuff from that time period. When I was in the military in Korea, I learned to do leather work at the service club. Little Korean man taught leather crafting, and I had some skills in that. So when I started doing this, I made my own belt. I made my own shooting bag, my belt pouch, my little bullet bags made out of deer skin. And eventually, I had a store in West Virginia that was one of the top three stores in the United States for muzzleloading people. And I was making possibles bags or shooting bags and
And
trading them to them for beads and other stuff that I needed because I didn't have the money to buy it.
and you made me one of those little bags for putting the arrowhead in. What was that? Rabbit? Was that a rabbit?
Rabbit bag,
A
yes.
little rabbit bag.
The rabbit bags are more for looks.
Right, but
They're functional.
they're so cool though.
Yeah,
I thought they were cool.
they
What is this?
these are bracelets.
Oh,
These are
he's got
bracelets.
bracelets
These are
too.
made out of trade beads that coming out of Africa. They were made in Venice, Italy, probably 1840 to 1900. They were traded mostly. This size bead was traded in
So let
Ghana.
me try to
The
bring this.
Africans call them Ghana beads, but they would have been traded in North America. But we don't understand over here that the Venetians were trading beads to the Africans for 600 years before they came to America. And so there's literally millions of these in Africa.
Pops, the wife said that is absolutely beautiful. She said it's
The
beautiful.
the the beads that did make it to America, the ones were traded here, there were so few compared to the ones in Africa that those have been collected by people and are now in museums.
Hi, Mateo. Mateo. Hi, Mateo Outdoors. Hello, Stone Wolf. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they're mostly in museums, but the Africans had so many of them that when this living history started and got back in America in 1976, Africans started that were living in America started going back to Africa in the wintertime and going, which is their summer, and they were taking modern tools back into the bush and trading them to villagers for their old beads, and then bringing the beads back over to America and selling them to living history buffs.
So it was almost like currency.
Yeah. So it was like
Back in the day, it would be like currency.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were getting authentic stuff that we could use for our living history because all that would have been found in the U.S. were in museums.
Right.
So I've still got quite a few. I haven't done shows now for about 7 years. I used to do 42 shows a year as far away as Utah and all over Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, St. Louis, below St. Louis, Missouri, Fort Deschart, and right on the Mississippi River.
So Pops has done some traveling.
Done some traveling.
He does some
Did
show. Well, did some
Fort
shows.
Bridger, Wyoming, Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, the Salt Festival in Kentucky, the Feast of the Flowering Moon in Chillicothe, the Feast of the Hunter's Moon in Lafayette, Indiana.
What is this for?
That's deer skin.
Oh,
What I do,
okay.
I'm sitting here when he came, and these are pieces of deer skin that are left that aren't really good for anything. You can make like one half, maybe a bag out of that. But for the bracelets, which two bracelets get as much money as I do for a bag, this piece is long enough that I can cut probably 8 or 10 strings that are long enough for a bracelet. So that's what these little pieces are for. This is how I cut my strings for all my necklaces and all the stuff that I do.
Pops right here is just showing us how he makes arrowhead necklaces
Yes.
and some of the history behind it.
Yeah. See, with deer skin is kind of a weird product.
Oops. Yep.
It stretches a lot sideways, but it doesn't stretch lengthwise at all. So I cut all my strings lengthwise from deer skin so that they're nice and they're strong and there's no weak spots in them.
Oh, guess what? The wife's coming down. AKA the wife's coming down. So hang on for the beads because she may want to pick some beads out.
Well, we
And
may have
she's
to go
got-
get some more beads. I didn't bring a lot up.
Oh, you're fine. You've got
We'll
plenty.
we'll do that later. But
Yeah. But she's walking down with the dog here in
Okay.
a minute. So, anyways,
yeah, I've been doing this for probably. I went to Korea in '72 and got married in '73, and went to work and went to college. Went to work in '76, and I think I started doing living history in '84.
I'm gonna scoot
And
this
at that
this
time,
there.
I really started doing this type of stuff. It was totally accident. I had an individual called me up who did leather work, wanted to sell all of his tools. When I got there, his tools were worn out and I didn't want them, but he needed some money. He said, "Would you be interested in any beads?" And he had 5 Budweiser long neck boxes full of beads. And I bought them all and was going to sell them in strings. And eventually they weren't selling. So I started making necklaces with arrowheads and they did very well. And 10 years later, I wasn't selling any leather goods at all. I was doing all beaded items.
Hello, backwoods. Squirrel Magnet Fishing, welcome in. We got a nice little group of people in here watching. We want to thank you in advance for coming to this here live with a.k.a. Pops. Good old buddy, adopted dad. So
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all coming down here. And what he's planning on doing is actually showing you how he makes his arrowhead necklaces. Now, I've actually got a video on here that was never live video, but we recorded a video one time before, and we shared that on YouTube. We also have, as you know, Pops here, he's an old bushcrafter, so he actually showed us some of his bushcrafting skills on how to start fire
How to start fires with flint and steel.
and he's really, really good at it. So we actually did a video on that too.
Over the years, I used to do an average of 17 Boy Scout camps a season. And my daughter worked for the Girl Scouts at one time. So guess who got volunteered for everything?
It was Pops.
I would go to their summer camps and teach fire starting skills. I also at the Boy Scout camps would teach tomahawk and knife throwing. I used to be pretty good at it, but now I'm old and beat up and I can't throw worth anything anymore. At one time, I could throw a tomahawk and make one stick with a handle up in the air, one with a handle down in the air. I could throw sidearm and have a handle sticking out each side, and then I put one in the middle. Throw my knife in the middle usually.
So, quick question. How is the audio and how is the visual? Because we are literally out in the middle of the forest in a beautiful cabin on the back porch of Pops's place, and we're shooting this here live. So we're like miles from,
We're we're 8 miles from anything.
we're 8 miles from anything, basically.
We're
And
5 miles from the parks, but we're 8 miles from a gas station or groceries.
yeah.
If you
So,
want anything but beauty, we're 8 miles away
yeah,
from it.
and there is plenty of beauty out here. Pops, tell them all about. We got 45 acres to play in.
I have 45 acres of my own. I have
Yes, he
6
does.
rental cabins here. It's called Chandler's Enchanted Acres. We're in the middle of the Hocking Hills of Ohio. 2 years ago, an international travel agency listed the Hocking Hills as one of the top 10 places in the world that you should see before you die.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. We have probably 20 parks here. We probably have 14 to 17 waterfalls, anywhere from 10 foot to 100 foot. There's parks all around us. From my farm, no matter which direction you go, it's 5 miles to a park.
And this is actually with Pops here. The first time we ever met, we rented the cabin and came down, and we rented a cabin this time and came down again because Pops right here has such great hospitality that we're like, hey, we want to come down here again. And I told him about my history, about how I'm a little YouTuber and I like doing stuff. And he's like, hey, I'm an old bushcrafter. You want to shoot some films? And I'm like, yeah, I want to shoot some films. That sounds like fun. So he's like, yeah. He's like, I can show you how to start fires with flint and steel. He's like, I can show you how I make arrowhead necklaces. And his hospitality has been just off the wall. And so I told him, I said, I want to rent a cabin. We're going to come down here, or cottage, excuse me, cottage.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Cottage. I want to rent a cottage. We're going to come down here and visit you again. I love the hospitality. We love the area. So we're actually just camping out down here, visiting Pops and having a good time. This is part of our vacation plan, and we're visiting the Hocking Hills, and we're making some arrowhead necklaces. I thought the wife said she was on her way walking down here. Oh, she is. She's coming. My gosh.
For 38 years, my wife and I did 24 weekends a year. The 5 years that both girls were in college, we did 44 shows a year, and we had full-time jobs. We slept, did everything pre-1840. We cooked over an open fire. We slept on the ground in a canvas tent. We started our fires with flint and steel. My wife cooked with a Dutch oven over coals. So we've lived it, but we're old now. It's not as much fun as it used to be.
All right, just come up this way, ma'am. You just walk straight up the stairs.
Yeah, he's directing his wife now. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun learning the history of the area. I've spoken at many historical societies. And of course, I always worked with the Boy Scouts for many years. And there again, my daughter was with the Girl Scouts for 13 years. So we took in probably 45
And I straight
international.
out just find Pops fascinating. He's just a history buff. I mean, he knows so much. I just like connected with Pops right away. Here's Bella. Let me get her. Come here.
Yeah, he's here with
Come
his
here.
killer dog now.
Come
You got
here.
to watch this thing. It weighs every bit of a pound and a half.
She
It'll
weighs-
go for your throat.
She weighs every bit of a pound and a half. And we got the wife up here. Jump in there and say hi, dear. We got little Bella up here. And so right now he's actually currently starting to make this here necklace. We seen you said you're
go
on
ahead
your
and
way
start.
down.
No,
Start
I said
the other
come
one.
on down because Nomadic Camping said he'd like to come meet your guest.
Oh, well, come on down, Nomadic Camping.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to come and reserve a spot over here at.
If you're camping, it don't cost nothing. I'm not a campground, but I've got 45 acres. We can find a place for you.
We'll see that.
Our-
I love the cottage, and actually
Our,
last night
yeah.
we had to stoke up the heater, so we'll take the cottage. It got down to 40 degrees last night.
Yeah, we've converted a lot of tent campers. We took in one just a few weeks ago that got flooded out. They have a campground down here by the Hocking River that's in a flood zone. And every time we get a hard rain,
Say
the,
hi,
the creek,
Lou.
the river doesn't flood them. The water actually comes up through the ground because the
Here,
ground
you
is
want to get
below
in the
the water
camera?
table.
Well, I
And
can't. I'm
we've
trying to
had
get you in the
3
camera
different
too.
people who have come up here with their children, soaked. Everything was soaked. Their tent was soaked. Their food was
I'll get
soaked
closer. Scoot over.
because they came back to their tent and found it under
I want
18 inches of
the
water.
wife in the shot.
I'm in the process now of fixing a second one for her. She wants 2 of them.
Yes,
So I'm going ahead and string it up.
one is actually for.
What I'm doing here is when we do the beads, I'm actually sharpening the end of the deer skin to a point so that the beads will slide on easier. But that's a deer skin string. Most of them I cut 30 inches long. That gives me plenty of room. Fold it in half. There's the other arrowhead that I have tied the sinew around, and it's ready to be tied on the string. So I'm going to put it through the loop now and tie it on.
Oh, I gotta plug this back in. Stop, Lou. I got Lou over here being crazy. Baby girl. Say hi, baby. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. My goodness.
Okay.
You want to wear this mic?
Now I'm going to snip off the excess. I made it a little long, but you can always make it shorter. You can't make it longer.
So my question is, how is the visual? Are we coming in good and clear, considering that we're in the middle of the forest
And we're sitting in the dark.
and we're sitting in the dark?
We're good.
Good, good. So there's the new one tied on right there. And then all you do is add the beads you want.
My grandson
So we get
and
a
I
lot of
come
people.
down.
I've done a
His
lot of
here
people who have
address
found
on
arrowheads
Facebook.
on their farms.
My grandson, a nomadic.
My grandson and I may come down Saturday.
Hey,
Is there an address on Facebook?
yes, it is. There's
22579.
no.
Oh,
Hey, what is nomadic camping? I will hit you up with uh his information later on after the live, so that you can make arrangements to come down and meet up. We're actually meeting up with Exploring with Bonnie down here and Saturday. So yeah, we don't want to share your
okay.
personal.
On a live.
Yeah.
Oh,
On a live.
okay.
Yeah. So we'll actually
Not
read out.
anything but
Yeah, we'll actually reach out to Nomadic Camping. I actually have done a collaboration with Nomadic Camping, a.k.a. Carl.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, so we will actually reach out to you later on tonight. I'll send you the information and phone number to get a hold of
Yeah,
him.
us old people make good clients for YouTubers. It gives us something to do.
It gives us something to do. Plus, I get educated.
I got 6 or 8 people that I watch on YouTube every day. Well, one of them does one every day. Several of them do one once a week, Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I do make great necklaces from the rocks. Oh, yeah, a.k.a. Tony, Stone Wolf Outdoors. He actually makes necklaces from stones out west that he finds.
Stoned out what?
They're little stones.
Uh-huh.
He
Oh,
somehow he
yeah.
makes necklaces
Well,
with stones.
a lot of people, some people, I've known people who actually have used a special drill to drill holes in stones. I have several friends who did shows like I did that wire wrapped stones. They would go to the creeks and find beautiful stones, and then they would wire wrap them and make necklaces out of those. They're beautiful. There's stuff everywhere. There's beauty everywhere you look. You just got to use your imagination.
Right.
they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Beauty is in the eye
Yep.
of the beholder.
Some things look pretty to some people and look ugly to others.
Yeah.
It's true.
And nomadic camping, we're actually going to be down here till Sunday morning. We're actually heading out early Sunday morning because she's working Sunday evening and I got to work Monday. So,
I could have sworn you told me not to cuss on here.
yeah.
He said the word work.
Yeah.
I'm
I
retired.
am
We
sorry.
cannot, you can't
I
talk
am
that way around a
I'm
retired person.
sorry for mentioning work, but I actually, Pops, I actually have watched you work, and
All day
you've been
long.
working all day long.
Yeah.
But what did they always say about working in something that you really enjoy?
Yeah, you never work a day in your life.
So Pops actually was working all day long, and he doesn't consider it work
Nope,
because
this is relaxation.
it's relaxation.
Yeah.
He's out there at 70 plus years old, cutting wood.
I cut 2 cords of wood yesterday.
Yeah, cutting wood, cutting grass, getting everything around.
I did
And
cut grass today, didn't
yeah,
I?
you did. You
Cut
cut
4 acres of grass
four-
today.
4
Forgot all
acres.
about it. Had so much fun I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, he couldn't stand it. I have a buddy who flint naps and makes necklaces. Backwoods 303.
When
Yes, and that's
when I was doing all my shows, I had 3 flint nappers who napped for me. I would buy 20 at a time off of each one of them, and they would pick what they wanted to sell, and I would buy them. And then those necklaces were quite a bit more expensive than these. These are 10 to 15. Those were 25 to 50. Sometimes if they were a large, beautiful, extra nice, especially Flint Ridge flint, I've gotten as much as 75 for one.
but this is only for the purpose of education.
Right, right.
We're
I'm just
just
saying,
showing you
that's what
how
I
we're
did when I was doing this for a living. I'm
Right.
not doing that any longer.
right.
I
This-
do it for fun now.
Yeah,
I'm not selling on the internet. I'm not pricing. I'm just saying what they got you because the hand napped flint is so much nicer and it's local. You know, Flint Ridge is 35 miles north of here. It's the largest flint deposit in the world, and it's Ohio state stone. And the flint there comes from every color from white to black. Coshocton, which is 20 miles farther east, has Coshocton black flint, another large deposit. So there are quite a
So-
few flint
so-
nappers in Ohio.
Nomadic Camping says, I have been in Rockbridge several times. Yeah, if you go over to my Facebook page, I literally shared Pop's information over there today.
I'm 10 miles from Rockbridge. Rockbridge, if you've been there, you know, is a wide spot in the road, but they have a post office and they deliver. And about to the west, they deliver almost 15 miles away. I'm almost 10 miles from
I was
Rockbridge.
actually hoping them
Someone
possibly.
said it's beautiful art.
It's beautiful. I was actually hoping maybe we may run into more YouTubers down here on our vacation, as we will be in the Hocking Hill area over at Old Man's Cave. We were tromping around Old Man's Cave, or not, tomorrow's Old Man Cave. Today was Ash
Creek.
Cave
Ash Cave, yeah.
and Cedar Falls.
Yeah,
So
those
that's
are-
the two that we were. And
Well,
somebody
those
get
are-
over
those
here.
are two of the
say the
prettiest
truth.
ones down
say
here.
what happened. And at what was it? Cedar
I
Falls.
was on a trail. I told somebody which way I was going. He was down below taking selfies.
And video.
Selfies.
And
I
video.
told him which way I was going. He nodded his head and said yes. And then he goes this way, so I'm a mile and a half away from him.
She took a 3-mile hike heading towards
After
Old
he-
Man's
after
Cave
he acknowledged
instead
the
of
way I
going
was
directly
going.
to the I was like, oh my gosh, after I figured out what happened, I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to call her. It's like, hey, you're going the wrong way.
In my younger days, I used to sell firewood over by Old Man's Cave on the weekends. I would go set between the campground and the cave and on the side of the road with a pickup truck and sell firewood. And I would deliver it to the campground for you. And on weekends, I've been known to pick up over 100 people who walked from Old Man's Cave to Cedar Falls thinking it was a loop, and it wasn't. And they decided they were going back on the road, not going back in the woods again. I picked them up on my motorcycle, in trucks, cars. One time I had 14 in my truck because it's quite a trek. It's a
Yeah.
whole lot easier to drive over there. I tell people all the time, it says Cedar Falls 2 miles. That's the longest 2 miles you'll ever walk in your
Oh
life.
my goodness.
And then you have to walk back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's beautiful there,
If
but
you're young and you're strong and you like to hike, that's part of the Buckeye Trail. The Buckeye Trail runs from Cincinnati to Cleveland, 440 miles of trail, runs right behind my property. The walk from Old Man's Cave to Cedar Falls to Ash Cave is part of that trail.
this is why me and him connect so good. On our first time ever meeting, and I came and rented a cottage, he started talking to me just the way he is right now and telling me history, and boom, I connected with him just like we were like best friends. Almost like, well, just as good as me and Carl. Me and Carl. Nomadic camping. Same way. I connect. So anyways, how are we doing on this Arrowhead
Well,
necklace?
when this is over with, we'll go downstairs where the big bunch of beads are at so we can do a nice job instead of this little thing I got here for quickie jobs.
Well, let's do a quickie job. This is a demonstration.
Okay.
Even if you got to
Yeah, we
do it.
don't care about the colors.
Yeah, this is all about the demonstration of how
The
to make
problem, these beads here are smaller beads used for the bracelets because they're a lot thinner
Okay.
cord.
So would you rather do a bracelet? Show them how to do a bracelet and just make the
It
necklace?
don't matter. I can do this.
Will it fit? I mean,
Let's
are they too
see.
tight?
So you want it silver or brass
Silver,
beads, the metal?
Either.
Either?
You pick.
Okay, we'll go
not
with the
picky.
silver.
whichever works.
Yep. So we put, my standard necklace has,
Nomadic camping says they got to go for now.
let's see, there's a
Tell them to come down Saturday.
There's
if
a
he gets
blue and-
chance.
so we're
Yeah,
using
you're gonna have to leave bright and early to get up here.
We're
'cause
using
it's a
silver
I don't know.
beads.
He's down in Ohio. It might only be a
where's
couple hours
where's
from
she
him.
from?
Nomadic camping.
Yeah. What
He-
town?
he's Carl, and
Yeah.
I cannot remember exactly where what town he's in.
I don't know.
Okay.
Outdoors with Dan said, in Mike. Hi, Mike. Okay, we got Mike. Hi, Squirrel. I'm behind on the chat a little bit. Backwoods 303. Howdy, Dan.
See, this is the way I do mine. Everybody
can
can
you-
do them differently. I like to
hang
put
on
two
to it
metal
first?
beads and a
Okay,
glass
he
bead.
did perfect.
And then I put a bone pipe on that, and I don't have any up here at this time. So we may put like a skull bead. I have some skull beads. These are actually, they're carved as a skull. They got real popular a few years ago. They're called Tibetan prayer beads. This is kind of gross, but when a Tibetan monk dies, they cut his fingers off and they give them to a young trainee. And part of his training is he takes the knuckles from his teacher's hands and he carves them into little skull-shaped beads.
But that's just
These are way smaller. These are
Right.
made out of cow bone.
Yeah.
They're much bigger than this because your knuckle is much bigger than
right.
that.
But
But what he does
you're
is
referring
it looks
to,
like this bead,
right.
and he carves them and makes a little string of, and that's his
Right.
prayer beads that he uses when he prays for the rest of his life, and it's supposed to give him the wisdom
Right.
of his mentor.
Right.
But these are made of cow bone.
Right.
They're strictly decorative.
Right.
And they got very popular a few years ago. I bought a bunch of them, still have a bunch of them. I haven't seen any in probably 10 or 15 years. But they'll take the place of a hair pipe, which is what's in a choker. The bones that you see in a choker are made out of the same leg bone of a cow.
Right.
And
He's like, they're a little
these
too
aren't going to
tight.
go on. Their holes need re-drilled. I
Right.
re-drill most of these. Where I work, I have a small electric battery powered drill sitting there. And whenever I get a bead like that won't go on, I just
Do you got
that
bigger
it
beads?
fits fine.
Do you got bigger beads that
I've
you
got
want to?
bigger beads downstairs, but not here.
Do you want to walk down and grab
Oh
a
no,
little
it'd
pile?
take too long.
Oh,
Well, here we'll do this. We'll stick this on, and then stick this on. Oh, it's getting dark. The holes are getting harder to see. And
I can turn on that outside light.
I'll put the light on the other side.
Oh, well, that's a good backlight right there.
Yeah,
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's gonna need the light on the back other side.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate all you guys coming and visiting us tonight as we learn how to make an arrowhead necklace and put it together.
Okay. Yeah.
And we get a little.
Goodness knows what this one's going to look like. It's like a blind man making it in the dark, you know?
Yeah. And we get a little bit of history. I feel like I got a mosquito bite me.
Oh, they'll do that.
Oh, he's like, oh, they'll do
Oh,
that.
new blood. We haven't had this one before.
Mosquitoes are getting me. It might be the West Nile.
Oh, yeah. Be like, what's his name? Sheldon. I'm going to die.
That already looks kind of good.
Kinda nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
This is my standard necklace that I make to sell when I used to do it all the time. It was basically just 7 beads on either side.
And perfect like that. Hold it
Just
up
like
there.
that.
Perfect. Look at that.
And then you take it and you just take both of them and wrap them around each other.
What it is.
Much love
Tie
and
a knot.
respect, y'all. Work comes early. I'll be watching replay. Thank you very much. Backwoods 303.
Put that in there.
Look at that beautiful necklace. The wife's beautiful.
That way it keeps me off the streets. When I go on the streets, I end up hurting myself. So it's best that I stay at a table as much as possible.
Yeah, this is a good retirement plan right here. Just kind of working on making necklaces.
Yeah.
Cutting wood all day long at 70 plus years old.
Yep.
Cutting grass. Stocking the barns full of wood.
Yeah, I got
Chores.
4 more hickory trees to cut up yet. The one yesterday I cut 53 rounds before I came to a limb. The small end was 16 inches and the big end was 22 inches. And it was 63 16-inch rounds, 53 16-inch rounds before I came to a limb.
What'd you think about these?
Those are bracelets, yeah.
You said you liked those. They're pretty cool. Look at this
I
one.
said when you showed it, they're pretty.
Well, that's the one traded bead.
These are traded beads.
Yep. That's what I was doing when they came down to visit today. I'm completely out of the trade beads, or the small bead bracelets. I also make a braided deerskin bracelet. I sell some stuff at Old Man's Cave, Lodge, and gift shop for spending money now. I've got a lot of stuff. I was one of those people who'd rather have it than not, and rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. So I always bought way ahead on everything. And when I retired, I've got a lot of stuff left over and no place to sell it.
Yep.
So I'm making it into stuff. And my brother still does shows. I make stuff for him.
And he's making neat stuff.
I go up to my daughter is an elementary school teacher in Columbus. I go up and do her class around Christmas. And my granddaughter sits at one table and they take 5 kids and they make a Christmas ornament. I sit at another table and take
Squirrel
5
Magnet
kids.
Fishing said, nice necklace.
Yeah.
Yes,
And we
indeed.
do bracelets at my table, another table. I forget what all they do because I don't get to leave because I've got 25 students. So I have 5 groups of 5 and I have them for about 25, 30 minutes. And we sit there and they make a bracelet any way they want to. I show them. I have several laid out in front of me that I have made different styles, and they can pick their own beads and do their own style. And I sit there and help them.
Making good memories with the
Yeah,
little
Making
kids.
good
they're
memories.
5th graders.
All right, guys. I appreciate you watching me, Pops, and I got the wife down here with this little quick live. Well, it may not have been quick. Oh, it's 40 minutes already. Boy, time flies when you're having fun, Pops.
I used to have a state job, but talking is one thing I can do very well.
Pops knows how to talk, and
Work.
he has so much history. That is why me and him understand and connect on a different level, is because all the history. I find Pops absolutely fascinating.
I'll leave you with one little word of wisdom. If anybody tells you that they work for the government, watch them. They'll lie about other stuff too. If they tell you they're employed by the government, you can probably trust them.
All right, guys. I appreciate you watching. Now, let me swing this. Hang on to her real quick because you got to say the closing. Hey, love, peace, and chicken grease. The wife's got to say love, peace, and chicken grease.
Oh,
That's very important. She's now the role model, spoke model. Everybody's
spokesmodel.
looking forward. Sit down there. So, I appreciate you watching. And as the wife's got a new saying for the end of the show, and it's called
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
love, peace, and chicken grease. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all at the next one. I hope you enjoyed this little educational live where we have tried to teach you how to make a necklace, and we'll catch you at the next one. Bye-bye. Cheers.